Good afternoon. This is the day after Miami lost in the National Football Championship to the University of Indiana. So I'm kind of sad, but that's okay. We'll be talking about some fun facts about Miami, even though they lost. The city of Miami, obviously, is a majority minority city with 70% of the population being Hispanic or Latino, at least according to the 2020 census. It is the second most populous city in Florida, right behind Jacksonville. It is the sixth largest metropolitan area in the United States and is one of the only cities founded by a woman in the United States. Only major city found in the United States founded by a woman named Julia Tuttle, who was a local citrus grower and a wealthy person from Ohio. She owned a bunch of the land which Miami was built on, and she convinced the Florida East Railroad Company to keep going down. She convinced Henry Flagler to continue the railroads all the way down to Miami, and that's really cool. The Miami itself is named after the Miami River, which was a term derived from the Tequesta natives, which was another name for Okeechobee. Originally, the actual name is it's on here. It's Mayaimi, but that's that. Miami's pretty cool. Don't really like living there, but it's a huge population. So, people from Miami are called Miamians. Or, if you're like me, I don't know, just like loud and annoying. No, I'm just kidding. I like Miami. It's cool. Next fact, we'll be having a fact about yo-yos. I personally love yo-yos. Whenever I get one as a gag gift, I always end up being obsessed with yo-yos for about 3 weeks, and then I eventually break or lose it. But every time I see a yo-yo, I'm super happy. Yo-yos are a super old toy. I don't know if obviously you know what a yo-yo is, but it's basically two little discs connected by a little axle with a piece of string. Rotation, blah, 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 you pull it up. It's cool. It is believed that the first the first yo-yo was in ancient China. They find evidence in tools and at dig ups they find all these toys, so that's really cool. But the first actual mention is in written down, reference, drawn is in ancient Greece. They found these toys were made out of wood or metal or terracotta discs, and it seems like it was customary for kids of a certain age to get them, and then they could play with them. But it didn't just appear in China or Greece. There's also evidence of yo-yos in India in the mid 1700s. They would find hand painted little boxes of this picture of this girl in a red dress playing with a yo-yo, and eventually it traveled from China to India, Middle East, all the way to Europe, and it became kind of like a upper class toy for the upper class in England and France and Scotland. It has many names, but in America, yo-yos really, really got popular when this guy patented guy from Philippines patented and brought over his company where he was able to start selling yo-yos. He eventually got 2 factories out in San Diego that just made yo-yos. The Philippines also have a great history with yo-yos. They think it's because a certain weapon that the natives of the Philippines used kind of resembles a yo-yo, even though it's not exact. That's kind of referential and doesn't necessarily show that, oh yeah, yo-yos were used as weapons, like the thought that boomerangs were used as weapons by the Aboriginals, but the Philippines just had just like these. Nowadays you can get them. There's a bunch of tricks you can do. There's competitions and shows and meetups for all types of yo-yo stuff. Nowadays, modern yo-yos that are good have ball bearings in them, so it's not just the rotation of the axle. There's little bearings in them that make it spin and make it more stable. I think that's really cool. I like yo-yos. Nothing much else. I hope you have a great day.